So what's good, y'all? We back with another video. And opening night was last night. We had the Celtics and the Sixers. We had the Warriors and the Lakers. Warriors got their rings. It was a pretty good night of basketball to kick off the new year. And I just want to sit here and basically just chat, give a little summary or my thoughts on the two opening night games. Obviously, we got more games coming up later on tonight, but when this video drops, those games wouldn't have been played yet. So I just want to give my thoughts and opinions on the games from last night. And starting off with Celtics versus Sixers. And to be honest, this game was pretty much back and forth all the way up until like the mid third quarter. Jason Tatum got red hot. He was not missing. And then next thing you know, they were up by like 15, 16 points. And the Sixers were trying to claw back, trying, but they couldn't. They just couldn't come back. Tatum and Brown both finished with 35 points, which is ridiculous. Malcolm Brogdon chipped in as well. Grant Williams also chipped in. He has gotten so much better compared to what he was in his rookie year. I think he's going to need to get paid soon. Not big money, but good money for his role. I think he'll get paid. And as for the Celtics, defensively, they look pretty good, especially to open up the game. They actually looked really solid. They look like they haven't even lost a step, even without Robert Williams. And mind you, he's coming back in December, January. When he comes back, it can get really scary on that end for the Celtics. And people thought that without Ime Udoka, the Celtics would forget how to play the game of basketball or something. But this is a team that's been battle tested before. They've been to conference finals. They've been to the playoffs a whole bunch of times already. They just went to the finals last year. I'm pretty sure they're going to be fine. A lot of people were worried. I wasn't worried about the Celtics. And so far, even though it's been one game, the Celtics look like a team that's primed to try to get back to the NBA Finals and try to win it all. They look like a contender. The Sixers are a contender also, which makes it a good win for the Celtics. But yeah, the Celtics look really good. They looked really good out there. And they're not even fully healthy yet. So we'll see what happens later on in the year. But right now, Celtics look pretty solid. And let's talk about the Sixers. Sixers in this game weren't horrible, but they weren't at their best. They said it on the broadcast during the game. The offense was getting really stagnant at times, and I completely agree. There was a lot of times where Joel Embiid or James Harden were both just going one-on-one, or in Joel Embiid's case, it was a lot of one-on-two and then trying to have it a kick out. And it wasn't working. Even though they put up their numbers, it wasn't really working as much. The teammates weren't getting as much involved, except for Tyrese Maxey when he decided to try to take over in the late third quarter, fourth quarter. He went from 9 points to 21 points in that stretch alone. But beforehand, he wasn't even really getting a lot of shots up. He only had 6 shots up until the mid third quarter. So I think they got to try to get him more involved if this team wants to be super successful. Tobias Harris played a pretty good game considering what his role is going to be this year. He had 18 points. But yeah, there was a lot of times where offense was just really bland. Nothing was going on, and that's partly due to the fact the Celtics were playing really well defensively. But I think there's a lot of more times where the Sixers got to go out there, especially James Harden. He cannot go back to the old habits of dribbling the shot clock out, because if he does, the team's not going to go very far. We've learned this already a whole bunch of times, and I think it'll change because James Harden isn't that same guy. Now, mind you, he can get his buckets. He had 31 last night, but I think if this team wants to be successful, he needs to take a little more of a backseat. Tyrese Maxey needs to get more of a bump up, and Joel Embiid obviously needs to play better than he did last night, because last night he had 26 points, but it wasn't a Joel Embiid kind of game. It wasn't dominant. He just had 26 points because he's that talented. That's what it really was. So I think the Sixers can play a little bit better. They didn't play that well. But I'm not really worried about them. I think they'll be fine. I still think they're a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference at the end of the season. And I still think that this team is a title contender when they go into the postseason. Now let's talk about the game that I wanted to talk about, which is Lakers versus Warriors. Warriors got their rings. It was all good. Game started. It was a pretty good start to the game. The Lakers defensively weren't that bad in the beginning. Held the Warriors to 25 points in the first quarter. And then the game started to get away from the Lakers, and they showed exactly what it had looked like pretty much all preseason. As LeBron and AD, well, not AD actually started off really hot, but LeBron kind of started off slow. then got hot as the game went along. It's the first game of the season. I expected it because Steph Curry didn't shoot the ball that well either, but he got hot towards the end. And the Lakers, just in general, man, the roster is not good. It's not good. Like, the bench play is horrific. Kendrick Nunn is the only guy on the bench that I can look at and be like, that guy's going to be a consistent 13 to 15 points every night. On majority nights, he's going to have that stat line. But besides that, I don't know who's going to give you what. Literally, no offense to that guy, Matt Ryan. But when Matt Ryan is getting major minutes, big time minutes for your team, because your team has no shooters, that's how you know it's bad. Patrick Beverley did not play a good game in his Laker debut as well. Got into foul trouble. Wasn't knocking down shots. And the moral of the story is, if LeBron, AD, and Russell Westbrook all gave you decent to good games and you still basically got blown out, it's going to be a long season. Bench play was trash. The shooting, we already knew, it's trash. Lakers look like they in some trouble. There was a lot of red flags in that game for the Lakers that carried on over from even last season, where they would go out there and they'd basically be non-competitive for 3 quarters. Then in the fourth quarter, they try to make their little fake comeback, but it's too little too late. Warriors bring back in Steph Curry, and the game goes right back up to 15 plus. So yeah, not really worried about the Warriors. I'm not going to talk much about them because the shots will fall. They're not going to turn the ball over as much. So not really much to say about them. But as for the Lakers, I don't know what they need to do. They can't even tank if they wanted to. They can't even do that because they got no picks. This team is literally stuck. They're in probably one of the worst positions in the NBA right now. They can't tank, and they have no shot to win it all unless they make the biggest trade I've ever seen in my life. Problem is, they have no assets to do that. So, we're going to see a lot of these Lakers, and they're going to win probably. I don't even know. I mean, based off what I've seen in the preseason and in this first game of the season, man, I might have to go back. Sacramento might end up being better than the Lakers and taking over their spot in the standings predictions, because the Lakers just look like they're in no man's land, and I don't know if there's that much more that they can do to really get better. Anyways, that's going to do it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Link will be down in the description below. This has been the Checkup, where we talk hoops and hoops only, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.